Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. I mean, we might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she's never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at crossed in the last 3 years are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing a significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentle way.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and the scene walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have been required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive part, whether he can issue President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
that
you
would
can't?
Be a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, Jamie Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, Jamie Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons
Yes,
is
it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt, or at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
Jamie
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he
about
get a
this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that committee?
The seeking of pardons is
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. You're going to condemn that pardon.
Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people. Commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama-Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators thinking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The audacity!
Of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Like the boy asked, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Stably, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. I bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
At the end of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Yeah. I am here, and yes, the show's about to start. In fact, not is only about to start, it's starting right now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where, if you want to be an American and you don't want to be deported and you're fighting ICE, why would you fly flags of the country that you're not in, that you want to stay in? I don't understand it. Anyway, hi, how is everyone doing? It is Friday. What's today? Tuesday, the 4th of February, 2025. By the way, programming note, I will not have a show on Friday. I forgot. I'm leaving town. Maybe Lady Brewer and I will do some kind. What is that noise? Oh, is that my phone? Shut up. Jesus, what the hell? Anyway, no show Friday, although Lady Brewer and I might do a road trip live stream or something, or we'll just take pictures when we're in Colorado. Who knows? We're going to go visit our son, who we haven't seen for a while. And so I look forward to seeing him. And but I'll be in a plane, and our house sitter is going to be here taking care of our dog and all that stuff. So anyway, hi, how y'all doing? Let's say hi to everybody and get it going, because I'm a little late, and I got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Holy moly. First in the chat today is Mr. Kara Soldier. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Sorry, AD. That's AD's music. I don't even know if AD's here. Oh, yeah, you're there. Anyway, also good morning, Somnambul Nation. Excuse me. And Avocados Diablo, who does have the right music. Good morning, also Mike Savage, Blarg, Patio Furniture. Welcome back. It's been a few days. Also, good morning, JB. Amazing Disgrace is in the house, and Ms. Wild Wolf, Mers. When I see that MRZ, and I think that's not one of those neo-pronoun things, is it? Mers Wild Wolf. Okay, no, I know it's not. That's stupid. Also, good morning. Let's see, I said GB. Aaron Meredith's here. K-Show, what's up, Kristen? Good morning, Attack Alpaca. Who else here? Lord Stanhope's in the house. Green Badger Outdoors. Attack Alpaca, this thing I already said. And let's see. Oh, my other favorite Canadian, Unacceptable Views, is here. Good morning. And that's and Darren Root, what's up? Nice to see you. All right, so there you go. That seems to be everybody that's here so far. 22 people, 8 likes. Hit the like button. Damn, that's pathetic. You're gonna like the show, I promise. It'll be all right. Everything's gonna be good, and you'll be well fed and ready for a nap after this is over. So anyway, I don't know what the hell that meant. So let's get into the show. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, and but today is the special day. Today is World Cancer Day. Now, I don't know if it always sounds weird when they name something like this. Like, shouldn't it be like World End Cancer Day or something like that? It's just like, I don't know. So anyway, let's see. World Cancer Day. Those who have beat it, those who have lost, we have lost to it. Those who are fighting it, true warriors. We celebrate World Cancer Day, hoping that we find cures that the pharmaceutical companies probably already have hidden. But anyway, and let's see. Someone in here wrote this thing that I kind of like. Sending love to everyone in the world affected by cancer, which is all of us. We are all in this together. We are all affected by cancer in our lives. If love was enough to save us, it would be a disease everyone survives. Cancer may take lives, but it can't take love away. We must never give up hope that there will be a cure someday. Sending love to people going through treatment, receiving a diagnosis, in remission, or awaiting the results of a test. Sending love to people missing loved ones, the people no longer with us, and people supporting people by doing their best. And I think that's a pretty good night. It's a good That's good. That's a good message for World Cancer Day. Also, today is significant because it is Rosa Parks' birthday. Rosa Parks, born 112 years ago today, who famously refused to give up her bus seat to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama, in 1955. Now we know that she was not the first person to do this. There was another significant time that this happened before. And this one was, my understanding is that it may have been planned or whatever, but doesn't matter. It sparked a movement. There was the great Memphis bus boycott after that, and it caused the local laws to be changed about where people could sit on the bus. And it's kind of strange because when as a kid, and this is obviously way past the Memphis bus boycott, but the cool kids always sat in the back of the bus, and so for some reason that changed. But I also my mom, who I grew up with, not my natural mother, but my mother that I grew up with, was telling me a story one time of she went to school at Fisk University, which is in Nashville, Tennessee, and they kind of had. They didn't make necessarily people have to sit in the back of the bus, but they did. If someone was sitting, like if a black person was sitting near the front of the bus and a white person got on the bus and wanted that seat, they would tell them to move to the back. And she told me the story one time of there was a student from Jamaica, a big dude from Jamaica. He was like 6'6", big muscle-bound dude from Jamaica that was going to Fisk University. Or no, not Fisk. He was going to the other school, another one of the black schools, but they all knew each other in the two schools. And he was on the bus, and this guy gets, this white dude gets on the bus, and the bus driver's like tells him to move, and the big Jamaican dude just said, "Not today, boss, not today." And my mom's like, I mean, he was a big dude too. And they the bus driver and the other guy just picked another seat because he just didn't seem to want this to happen, which is weird because that was probably a very dangerous thing to do. But I think part of it, exchange students got a little bit different deference than Americans at the time too, is what my mom was saying. And so that was just a weird story. But anyway, happy birthday to Rosa Parks, a significant person in American civil rights history. All right, moving on. Fantastic Four is trending. Now, I'm not going to play the trailer. It looks okay. Some people are saying it looks great. And I do like how they've kind of retroed a lot of the scene here as you're looking at this in this trailer. This, by the way, will be in the links to the trailers and the links. I like how they used a more like 50s color scheme, like not super bold colors and stuff. But it looks okay. But here's the problem: trailers can often look okay, and this is they chose a weird thing to put in the trailer of the Thing eating some food that the robot cooked or whatever. The problem with trailers is it may be the best part of the movie, and so I'm not gonna I like the way they did the color in the movie, but I'm always skeptical because every one of the Fantastic Four movies left something to be desired. So let's see how they do it. By the way, the Fantastic Four was one of my favorite comic books as a kid. That was like, I really liked them, and I really liked X-Men. And I hope they do it right. We'll probably go see it. Who knows? So anyway, that's coming out, and obviously the Fantastic Four, hashtag Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four, and the Thing are all trending. Good morning, Rick Ashbringer, by the way. GDSOB's in the house. Who else showed up while I was talking here? Oh, my favorite Canadian, Jaeger Pony's in the house. Awesome. Nice to have you all here. So, those are things trending because of the Fantastic Four. But it's funny though, when I clicked on the thing. Now I knew it was because of Fantastic Four was trending, but also trending because a lot of people use the phrase "the thing" in their X posts. You know this. You know that. Well, you know the thing.
You know the thing.
So there's lots of things that are going on. Oh, Connecticut state employee arrested for changing Republican voter registrations to Democrat. Oh, that's interesting. The thing that never happens again. There's all kinds of things going on in this thing, but I don't have time, so we're just gonna move on. Let's see the next thing on here. Today is supposedly the day that Gabbert's nomination for Director of National Intelligence Senate vote happens. Senate Intelligence Committee is set to vote on Tulsi Gabbard's nomination as Director of National Intelligence in a closed session. Senator, by the way, and this was a surprise, Senator Susan Collins from Maine publicly announced her support for Gabbert's confirmation, despite criticism from some quarters labeling Gabbert as sympathetic to Russia. Gabbert's nomination is, and it's also controversial due to her past statements and actions regarding foreign policy. Yet she is also viewed by supporters as a needed reformer within the intelligence community. I agree, and I was not a fan of Tulsi Gabbard's politics when she was kind of a Bernie bro, but she's evolved quite a bit lately. Also, apparently, RFK is supposed to be the committee votes today. Oh, the committee votes today. So these are just the committee votes, excuse me. 10 a.m. for RFK and 2 p.m. for Tulsi Gabbard. Now, there has been some senators who are a little upset with Donald Trump, with Doge, with the issue with U.S. aid, AID, and the Tulsi, not Tulsi, tariff battles, who are claiming that there's one senator who said he's going to block all of Trump's nominations until he reopens USAID, which, by the way, a reminder, USAID is not necessarily about aid to other countries. It's more like aid to NGOs that spread their money around in very unusual ways. But anyway, now here's this. By the way, and this is the article on Gabbard receiving the shock endorsement of Susan Collins. Republican Maine Senator Susan Collins announced Monday she will support President Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence nominee, Tulsi Gabbard. Quote, after extensive consideration of her nomination, I will support Tulsi Gabbard to be the Director of National Intelligence. As one of the principal authors of the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act of 2004 that established this coordinating position, I understand the critical role the DNI plays in the intelligence community. Well, I'm glad you did a little self-aggrandizement while you decided that you were going to vote for Tulsi Gabbard, but good for you. And that certainly gives it a much greater chance that she will be confirmed. In other news, too, apparently there was a filibuster on Pam Bondi's nomination for Attorney General, and that filibuster has been broken. Hello, Scribe, Dog Thrapple. Also, the Fantastic Four teaser was mid as hell. Yeah, I thought it was okay, but it didn't make sense. I don't know if you're here. I did really like how they're doing the color scheme. They're using like kind of a 50s palette in it, but it was just okay. And it's all about the story once you get into the theater. And if that story's not good, and again, it has some origins shit in it too, which we've seen, I think, twice in Fantastic Four movies. If they have a good story, go for it. But I think it seems to me, I know I'm going backwards here. It seems to me that they always try to make too big of a villain, that an unrealistically big villain, even for the Fantastic Four. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, on Monday, the GOP-led Senate voted to break a filibuster on President Donald Trump's nomination of Pam Bondi to become the U.S. Attorney General. The vote to invoke cloture on the cabinet nominee was 52-46 along party lines. Senator John Fetterman and Lindsey Graham reportedly did not vote. The final confirmation vote is expected to take place in the next day or two. A simple majority will be needed for Bondi to lead the Department of Justice. Now, wait a minute. I thought a filibuster needs 60 votes. They voted to break the filibuster. The vote to invoke cloture was 52-46 along party lines. So they would still need, that doesn't make sense. That's not 60%. Well, anyway, the final confirmation vote is expected to take place the next day or two. A simple majority will be needed for Bondi to lead the Department of Justice. Bondi, a former GOP Attorney General of Florida, has endured one of the most hotly contested nominations from Trump in his second term. Democrats who oppose the pick have raised concerns about Bondi siding with wealthy special interests and doing Trump's bidding for political purposes. Look, I think Pam Bondi would be a fine Attorney General. No pun intended. Well, it was kind of intended, but anyway, you get the gist. All right, moving on. What else we got? So we got some immigration stuff to talk about, and this is what the the main topic is. And first, we're going to start with this one, because this is one of those trending news stories on X, and I don't know why. Margarita's tears. Deportation reveals immigration struggles. Now, CBS News decided to feature this lady named Margarita. Okay, and so this is their post. 21-year-old Margarita Zacarias broke down in tears after she was deported back to Guatemala. Guatemala. What the hell was that? Guatemala from the U.S., expressing her devastation largely because of what it would mean for her and her parents, who had pulled together more than $25,000 in loans to pay her smuggler. I really need to get to the other side to give my best to my parents, she said. They have nothing. They pulled together $25,000 to smuggle her into the U.S.? That's crazy. So here it is. Here it is. I have a lot of debt I need to get rid of. Because the smuggler, sorry. Oh, I see. Because the smuggler took a lot of money from me, nearly 200,000 quetzales, which is about 26 grand in American. That's why I have to get rid of that debt. I really need to get to the other side to give the best to my parents. They have nothing. We don't have a house. We only have a loan. So, and look, this person who posted this said there's a good lesson here. In here, everyone. Do not pull together $25,000 and pay a smuggler to help you enter the country legal. I mean, what? So they got $25,000. What could they have done with $25,000 in Guatemala? I don't get it. You know, I don't care why I ought to. Yeah, I just don't get it. So a lot of people posted this one, who had pulled together more than $25,000 loans to pay a smuggler. So she pulled together money for a criminal to help her break into this country illegally, but then she intended to be a tax-paying, productive member of our country. Okay, just stop it. So lots of people just kind of lambasting her. In other immigration stuff, also this story. Well, they've had these protests around the country, like in Dallas and in Los Angeles and whatever. And, they're using the block the freeways, block the streets protests. And so that's causing problems, obviously, logistically for these places. But there's an interesting phenomenon about these protests. So protests against ICE mass deportations have taken place across various cities in the United States, including Atlanta, Georgia, and Los Angeles, California. Demonstrators have been waving Mexican flags predominantly, with reports of the American flags being disrespected or burned. These protests have led to significant disruptions, including freeway blockages, and have escalated with police involvement in Los Angeles, where the situation reportedly turned chaotic. No charges have been confirmed to have been filed against the protesters involved in traffic obstruction as of yet. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. Help me make it make sense. You're protesting against deportations to countries around the world, because it's not just Mexico, it's not just South America. They're all over the friggin' world. But you're protesting to stay in the United States by waving flags of the country you came from. And especially lots of Mexican flags. And then burning the flag of the country where you want to stay. Now, somebody, make it make sense. Why, if you want to stay in this country, maybe you should be a little more adopting of the flag of the country you want to stay in, not the country you may have came from. It's just weird. I don't get it. Anyway, there's one burning the flag. There's one here. Breaking LAPD released the migrant rioters who were blocking traffic with 0 charges. So they're typical of Los Angeles. They're releasing them with no charges. In this one, let's see. Someone in the car wanted to get around. They said, "Fuck it, I am going around this motherfucker. I do not care." And so they're upset with the person in the. And they're throwing shit at the car. You know, I got to tell you, and I've always said this about the protests where they block the freeways. Do you think that's an effective protest? Do you think you're going to gain the sympathy of the people that are sitting in traffic for hours, sometimes on end? Do you think you're getting any sympathy from them ever again? Especially if you're on your way to work, or maybe picking up your kids from school, or going to go take grandma her medicine. Do you think this is an effective way to protest and carrying Mexican flags and from other parts of the world? Anybody think this makes sense? No, it does not. So anyway, and apparently the LA protests turned violent. Most officers are responding. It's morphing into total chaos. That was in this video. Let's see. Here, let's start this back over here. Now this doesn't, well, they're throwing shit at the cops, and the cops are probably. Make it make sense. Good morning, Maddie. Okay, there you go. All right, moving on. Let's see. What was the next thing? Oh, by the way, I gotta thank some people here. I didn't do that yet. Let me thank some of yous. Oh my. So let me show this one again too. Here's one. Atlanta, Georgia protest against mass ICE deportations. Mexican flags as far as the eye can see. You'd never guess this was in America. They all love Mexico, want to represent Mexico, send our money to Mexico. They just don't want to live there. Again, make it make sense. So yeah, all these different flags, mostly Mexican flags. So that's in Atlanta. Now there seems to be, well, no, they're blocking the street too. So anyway, again, I don't get it. I just don't get it. All right, let me thank a few people here. Thanks to the people who did share the show this morning. I greatly appreciate it. Starting with, of course, Somnambule Nation was first on the scene with the putting out the show. Also, thank you, Mike Savage, for Let Us Go. Somnambule Nation, let's get this party started. Hell yeah. Ms. Wild Wolf dropped a Let's Go. Why didn't he there with the, oh, you did it. Oh, that's liking my version with the Fantastic Four there. This one, Amazing Disgrace, I'm not sure what that is. Is this like a wrestling thing? It ripped down the damn door. Let's go. I guess you really wanted to get in. That's awesome. And also thank you, Ms. Wild Wolf, with the I'm trying to think of what is this, like the the Olympic penguin. I don't know what that is. The official Olympic penguin. And also, and thank you for bringing the truth to light. God bless you. Well, God bless you too, Ms. Wild Wolf. And there's one from Green Badger Outdoors. They're ready for battle. So, and also everyone who shared the stream, Man Squatch, Ms. Wild Wolf, Swamp Fox Ghost, Kirsten Shull, aka K Shull, Amazing Disgrace, and Somnambull Nation. So thank you very much, gang. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Am I done with the immigration stuff? There is another story regarding immigration. Apparently, this is also courtesy of X, allegations surface on Biden's fund allocation for immigration. Let's see, it's a social media post of circulated claims that the Biden administration redirected billions of dollars intended for American aid towards funding undocumented immigration. These claims stem from testimonies at a House Homeland Security Committee hearing discussing the allocation of funds for immigrant children. While the post suggests significant financial mismanagement, the veracity of these claims need further investigation, confirmation from official sources. So here's the clip, one of the clips that they're talking about. Let's check this out. Okay, this is at the House Homeland Security Committee meeting on migrant children victims.
I'd like to ask Mr. Carroll and anybody else would like to.
I don't want the music. Why is there music over this? Let me try another one. Let's see if this has music.
Millions of dollars.
Oh, do they all have music?
Anybody else?
Oh, good Lord. Anyway. Okay, well, there's going to be music, and who knows what's going to happen to my stream. Here we go.
I'd like to ask Mr. Carroll and anybody else would like to answer this. Can you name some of these NGOs that have specifically taken these hundreds of millions of dollars and not used it to protect these children?
Catholic Charities, Islam Family Services, Jewish Family Services. I spoke to a gentleman that works in DHS. He actually sends the electronic fund transfers, and I asked him, sir, tell me, who do you send, who are you responsible for, and how much is the largest check you cut? He said, I'm over Jewish Family Services, and I cut a check for $600 million.
$600 million?
Is that for like 3 years? And he told me, JJ, get in the game. That's 2 or 3 months, and it's renewable.
For 2 or 3 months, and it's renewable. So a lot of and it's not just the religious charities. Notice that all the ones he named were either Christian or Jewish charities, but we also know that, there's a big hubbub about USAID, right? And how they fund a lot of different things. It turns into a multi-level kind of money laundering thing, because they'll give a grant to, X organization, right? And and with a general development theme. That organization will give big old grants to this organization, which is helping, migrants navigate the legal part of coming across and learning how to say the word asylum, right? So it's like we saw that chart the other day where all these different aid groups fund each other. But then you got, USAID that funds some of the bigger ones, and then they, you don't know where, the left hand is, the left hand and the right hand don't know what they're both doing. So it's kind of crazy. Good morning, Midnight in Exile, by the way, and Special Can Acid, on my honorable mention list of favorite comedians. There you go. So lots of people talking about this, and they all are using the same clip. So you gotta be somewhat concerned if it's just one clip, if they're not putting a lot more evidence out there. But yeah, this is a symptom of having government agencies that just give out money willy-nilly to various places. It becomes very hard to track. So there you go. Next on here, apparently there's a leadership turmoil or leadership shakeup at the FBI. The FBI is undergoing significant changes with the Trump administration ordering the retirement or resignation of senior leaders, including FBI executives and field office heads. This follows an investigation into whether the FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe lied to federal officials, which was closed without charges. There's widespread concern among FBI employees regarding their job security, pensions, and health care amidst political pressures and a hiring freeze that has caused further operational confusion. Now, this is funny because apparently the former director, or McCabe, or former deputy director McCabe, was on This is CNN. Hello, Cindy Bishop. This is CNN. And so this clip is going around. Just in, former FBI Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe says the FBI is in utter disarray thanks to Trump. As if they didn't have problems before Trump. And it says that they're living in terror because their pensions, healthcare, and retirement are at risk. I've talked to more FBI people in the last 4 days than I did in the prior 4 years. Really? Weren't you in the FBI then? I'm just saying. It is a place in utter disarray right now. People are worried about how I'm going to pay the bills, how I'm going to support my family. If you get fired, you're done. That's the end of your reputation, your ability to get any job. You lose your pay, you lose your chance at a pension, you lose your health insurance. Okay. And I'm sure the vast majority of people at the FBI are good people. But then you have Andrew McCabe here, who basically should have been brought up on perjury charges. And yet he didn't even really get a slap on the wrist. You have people like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who left the FBI in shame, but then the Biden administration somehow awarded them settlements of over $1 million each for the shit they did. I have a hard time feeling bad for the FBI people, although I do. I mean, you feel bad for the ones who are good, but let's listen to Andrew McCabe whine about what's happening there.
This is totally unprecedented. FBI rank and file agents and analysts who make up the vast majority of the field offices who.
Do you think they're going after the rank and file agents and analysts, or the ones who twisted certain things to get certain results? Do you think the rank and file analysts and officers are really the ones who are in danger here?
Do the work of investigating these cases, of executing search warrants, of executing arrest warrants, doing.
Is this a Nazi show? Oh, cute, John. By the way, welcome. I don't know how you would qualify a Nazi. There's not a whole lot of black Nazis out there, but you're welcome to hang around and trade barbs with us and everything. Because I don't care who comes here. You're welcome here anytime. So yeah, Nazi show. Yeah, you're just showing your ass. Anyway.
Surveillance, electronic surveillance, whatever it might be. Those people are never touched by the political winds that blow through every 4 years, nor should they be. Nor should they be.
I agree with him there.
They're assigned to the work that they do. The work they do is lawful. It's within FBI policies, and not doing the work is not really an option for them, right? They come to the FBI. Most of them come and tend
morning,
to
Anon.
stay.
1, 2, 3. And Robert Banks, what's up? Good morning.
For the entirety of their careers, 20 years or more, 20 years on the agent side, a little bit more for the support side. And so to be targeted in this way for.
The irony of targeting this. The irony of using the word targeting.
Or termination potentially, or retribution simply for doing their jobs on a major national security case is incomprehensible.
If we were a Nazi show, we'd all be impeccably dressed. Yeah, I went with the oh shoot, what's the dude's name from Pennsylvania? I went with the John Fetterman look today, although I'm not wearing shorts. I can't wear gym shorts anymore.
To them or anybody that knows the organization. I've talked to more FBI people in the last 4 days than I did in the prior 4 years.
Well, that's unfortunate.
As John has described it accurately, it is a place in utter disarray right now. People are worried about, how am I going to pay the bills?
I think they should be worried just if they're doing their job correctly and they're dotting their I's, crossing their T's, and doing things to procedure, rather than doing things that, again, he used the word targeting, which was ironic. And if their superiors were asking them to do things that were not on the up and up, maybe they should be worried then. If they did it, you can refuse an unlawful order. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see.
How am I going to support my family if I lose? If you're anywhere in the middle of that career, not close to retirement, if you get fired, you're done. That's the end of your reputation, your ability to get a new job.
All right. We already read that part. So there you go. All right, that's why this is in the trending spot. And I got to tell you, it'll be interesting to see when Kash Patel's confirmation battle comes up, and if he is actually installed or whatever, what he called confirmed, will he clean up some of this? The stuff that we're talking about when they get out there and start targeting people. So that's all. It looks everyone's talking about the same clip. It's funny here though. Here's like some of the reactions here. Like here's one. I'm actually getting more angry right now listening to this creep tell me that the FBI are the real victims. I want them to live in terror for what they've done. Not terror. I don't know. I want them. It'd be nice if they're worried. The FBI terrorized conservative over a decade. Feel the pain, tyrants. The former FBI Director McCabe, Andrew McCabe, with zero sense of irony and with zero sense of history about the role he played in tarnishing the FBI's reputation. So there you go. Those are typical reactions. Moving on. Doge is trending. Of course, a lot of it's talking about this department is the Department of Government Efficiency an official department yet? I don't know that it is. But anyway, a couple things. This guy, Jared May, an assistant media technician at Boston University, called for Doge employees to be killed. That's probably not a good idea. Here it is. Here's a tweet. The men carrying out Musk's coup are Akash Baba, Edward Christine, Luke Ferreter. He put their names on here and then put pictures on here, wanted for treason, dead or alive. Now, there's an interesting story about one of the guys here. This guy says Luke Ferreter, he's one of these guys, is a hero. He's on the Doge team. We have an army of smart young folks that want to help change the world. I'm going to put this video in a separate link because basically it seems as though maybe Elon Musk is somewhat weaponizing autism a little bit. These guys are pretty apolitical. Now, and on that note, Elon Musk puts don't mess with Doge. So Edward Martin, the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, put this out. Our initial review of the evidence presented to us indicates that certain individuals and or groups have committed acts that appear to violate the law in targeting Doge employees, said Edward Martin, Jr. U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. We are in contact with the FBI and other law enforcement partners to proceed rapidly. We also have our prosecutors preparing. So, by the way, what my favorite part about Doge is how one of the guys will be some kind of insane prodigy who decided the Herculean decoded the Herculaneum papyri at the age of 20, and a hit piece author and the hit piece author's bio trying to take him down as like associate staff writer for general topics. Hobbies include having a cat. So they did a hit piece on them. And who are these little boys? And so the FBI is investigating whether or not these guys broke the law by targeting these guys. So here's another one. This is another guy calling for the Doge employees to be killed. Oh, is that the same guy? Okay, that's the same dude. So, yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. But anyway, I do highly recommend watching the little feature on this guy. Very interesting. He at 20 years old, he developed some way to decode like ancient scripts or whatever that they can't move. They found a way to be able to read them, whatnot. I mean, it's pretty amazing. All right, moving on. But the other thing about Doge is people are asking if its role in government, if it's efficiency, or whether it's overreach. Recent discussions on social media have highlighted concerns over the Department of Governmental Efficiency, led by Elon Musk, under the U.S. digital services and its potential impact on government agencies like USAID, the IRS, and the IRS. Senator Chuck, the smarmy prick from New York, Schumer, has voiced apprehension about Doge influence, suggesting a broader discussion on government efficiency and the role of private figures in public administration. Well, is that what he did? Here's Chuck, the smarmy prick from New York, Schumer, because he's very upset that they have, at least even temporarily, shut down USAID.
We also know this is just the beginning. If Doge attacks USAID today, then you can be sure they'll move on to another target tomorrow. Who knows?
You mean, and they might find some shenanigans going on with those targets? Is that a bad thing? Now, I do question the method a little bit. I mean, I am not a big fan of executive power in our government. I'm not a big fan of anyone or any of the three branches having any greater power than the others. Here's the problem. Do you remember back in the last administration when Joe Biden decided he was going to unilaterally forgive student loans? Just as an executive order, right? And the Democrats cheered. They loved it. They loved it. They were like, yeah, he should do that, blah, 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 blah. And then the court said, no, this is not something you can do. And Joe Biden said, okay, the court said I can't. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to find as many ways I can to do it. And the Democrats cheered even more. And all the people rejoiced. And the people who are, who were probably marching in the street for the Palestinians are all saying, yes, you should forgive our student loans, even though we took out student loans and we had an agreement to repay them. Is that all of you Democrats were like, oh, no, he surely should be able to do that, blah, blah, blah. That is an overreach in a presidential power that you all cheered. And now you're mad because the next president takes it to another level, like, usually happens. Every time, Obama did his Obama phone and a pen, Donald Trump did a bunch of executive orders in his first term, then Joe Biden, did this, all these executive orders in his term. So now Donald Trump's doing the same thing. You guys keep increasing the power of the presidency. Not a fan of that. But you're the ones who keep doing it. And so when you complain about, then the next guy does it, you have less credibility. Chuck, the smarmy prick from New York.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Postal Service or the IRS or even the Social Security Administration. They could be next. Or maybe our national security agencies. We also know.
And so, look, is the Government Accounting Office doing it? I mean, remember, the Department of Defense probably could use this too, right? Because they haven't passed an audit for the last 7 times they've been audited. The entire government should be looked at. Now, who should be doing it and how we go about that? Is this the right way? Is it the legal way? I guess we'll find out, because there certainly will be lawsuits. But it's a necessary thing. Banks, when I travel for work, the bean counters audit everything I spend. What's this $35 at Walmart? Well, if you look at the receipt, I bought breakfast to eat in my room instead of the $20 hotel breakfast. Yeah, and every government department should have open books for their spending. Oh, hell to the yes. Yeah, God forbid. Look, so far, as they've been looking at the Treasury, for example, and people are very upset. People are very upset that they're looking at the Treasury. But what they're finding out is in Treasury Treasury just sends money out to whoever asks for it. Whether they don't check to where they're supposed to go to the right people or not. Remember all those remember all the PPP loans, fraudulent ones that they keep finding now? And they're putting people in jail for the fraudulent PPP loans. Well, Treasury just kept sending them out, right? So yeah, everything should be audited, and everyone should be able to pass an audit. And certainly this USAID, which is, again, I think the giant money laundering operation for left-wing causes in a lot of the places. And also it's money laundering for doing some shady shit in other countries. It all needs to be scrutinized. That's all I'm saying. Real quick, thank you, Avocados Diablo, first sponsor today on Streamlabs. You are the new Streamlabs superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, sir. Dropping a small bullet, a.k.a. $2.23 and $2.23 in the tip jar, saying, quote, is it overreach? The executive to sign off on these payments. Shouldn't they be allowed to question the benefits of them? Yes, they should. And in fact, that is a good question in that if these agencies are part of the executive branch, for example. So remember, by the way, Trump's putting out a proposal in the Department of Education. We'll get to that if I can. I'll try to get to that. If all these federal agencies are under the executive branch, well, then the executive branch probably should have some say how the agencies work. And if they're not part of the executive branch, what branch are they a part of, and why do they exist? If they're not, are they under the legislative branch? Should they exist under that? Who's in control? If these agencies are just self-perpetuating agencies that the Congress of the United States and the president, whatever, keep giving money to, and then they have so much power to do whatever they want to do, how do you have accountability? Are they holding themselves accountable to where the money that they spend or give out or give away or grant or whatever goes? Do they have responsibility for what that money actually does in practice? Who's the buck stops here guy in that situation? We have agencies that they're just, is it an autonomous agency or is it part of a branch of government? I'm just not sure. Thank you, Amazing Disgrace, dropping a 10 spot in the YouTube super chat. Says, Ice Shack Hooker Fund. Here's enough for two. Well, thank you. If you'd want to contribute to the Ice Shack Hooker Fund, or just want to buy me a beer, you know how it goes. Thank you very much. He only frequents classier ones. They're a bit pricier. Yeah, that wouldn't do a 2-for-1. Sorry. That's oh wait, I'm not supposed to say anything about that. Well, anyway, thank you. Thank you, Amazing Disgrace. Or you can help the Ice Shack Hooker Fund, or just buy me a beer, because I'm trying to quit the Ice Shack Hooker thing, you know? All right. So anyway, let's see. Other things regarding this was the Doge overreach. So Chuck Schumer, again, the smarmy prick from New York, tweeted this. An unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government. Oh my gosh. Doge is not a real government agency. Doge has no authority to make spending decisions. Doge has no authority to shut programs down or ignore federal law. Doge's conduct cannot be allowed to stand. Congress must take action. Well, if you need to take action, then take action. I'm fully supportive of you taking action. If you want to write a bill or whatever, then do so. Or, that's your prerogative as the co-equal branch of government. And let's see how that goes. Good morning, Selected Boy, by the way. Whoops. Yeah, boy. A lot of people saying, go fuck yourself, Schumer. We, the people, elected Trump and Elon, got deputized. You're big mad. Your corruption schemes are ending. You inverted scrotum, pus-faced fuck. Wow, that's quite cheery, isn't it? That's awesome. All right. Oh, You know, John. Oh, God. Mr. Knight, we give you a place at the master's table in the big house. Thank you again. Shut the fuck up. I can't tell if you're just if you're serious or you're just being a dickhead. All right, but I'm glad you're still here. I hope you're enjoying the show. So here's that thing about the U.S. attorneys that warned about the threats towards the Doge staff. District of Columbia U.S. Attorney Ed Martin warned Elon Musk about threats towards Doge staff. Quote, I recognize some of the staff at Doge have been targeted publicly. At this time, I ask that you utilize me and my staff to assist you in protecting the Doge work and the Doge workers. Martin added, any threats, confrontations, or other actions in any way that impact their work may break numerous laws. The letter could possibly be about a journalist who doxed young men at Doge, leading to threats on Reddit. So Victoria Elliott is the journalist responsible for doxing the young men involved at Doge, which she put on Wired. Wired has identified 6 young men, all apparently between the ages of 19 and 24, according to public databases, their online presence, and other records. So she out just doxed these guys. Someone here says, here's a handful of Reddit posts of the many Reddit posts calling for violence and harassment against the boys from Doge who were doxed. This is the point of activist journalists doxing pieces to target people for harassment. The controversy over Musk and Doge exploded late last week when President Donald Trump's administration shut down USAID's website, shut down the headquarters, and put some senior staffers on leave due to Doge's audit. They had an audit and didn't come out too good. As Leslie pointed out in her article, Americans are concerned it has become a slush fund for pet projects and policies that fail to promote the best interests of this country. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that he is the current acting director at USAID. So he's the Secretary of State and the acting director of USAID. Quote, let me assure you this, we will pursue any and all legal action against anyone who impedes your work or threatens your people, continued Martin. We will not act like the previous administration who looked the other way as Antifa and BLM, as the Antifa and BLM rioters, as well as thugs with guns, trashed our capital city. Now, I don't know where this acting U.S. Attorney Ed Martin came from. Where was he? Is he a career guy or was he someone that got appointed? I am very curious. Wow, that's interesting. So, yeah, those guys were getting death threats, as we just saw in the links there. Next, what's up? And it's also, obviously, Doge is also sparking a legal debate. The Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Musk, has drawn significant public attention due to its actions, which include the effective shutdown of USAID. And then they're talking about the legal proceedings to get those legal proceedings against those targeting Doge employees. So, it's a big topic. There's several links in here. And USAID, which a lot of people are talking about now, and people are realizing kind of what they do. And what's interesting, what's most interesting to me is now that we're learning, because everyone's doing research on them now, and you can find a lot of different stuff about them. It's interesting that USAID funds a whole lot of things that most, say, the former leftist, or Democrats, people, anti-war people, would normally decry. Like, for example, where USAID tends to be funding things that topple governments and prop up governments with American interests, but not necessarily the nicest people in the world. So, for example, they'll topple a government and put some dictator or really bad entity in place using tactics like, funding social media platforms or stuff like that. Or they'll fund censor operations in a country, or fund protest groups and train them how to protest against this government. They topple a government, and then you get someone really shitty in there, but they get a cooperation agreement from the United States. Now, is that always in the United States' best interest? Well, I'm going to guess not. Also, they fund things like they'll fund NGOs that do things like help illegal immigrants navigate the asylum process rather than, send them away. And we saw a lot of that during the Biden administration because there were NGOs on the other side of the border that were telling people how you can get through this and get yourself processed, get a free cell phone and a free ride to wherever you want to go in the United States just by knowing a simple English word, asylum. So, and USAID funds that thing. So here's Ron Paul talking about this, about USAID and shutting it down.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Ron.
Thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. Audit USAID, then shut it down.
Yeah, shut it down.
As of this writing, when you attempt to access the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID website or social media pages, you are informed that this site can't be reached. The media reports that the new Trump administration has not only frozen USAID activities, but may be planning on bringing it back under control of the U.S. State Department. Other reports, including statements by Elon Musk, suggest that it will be closed completely. If true, the closing of USAID may be one of the most significant changes President Trump has made among the many dramatic actions in his first couple of weeks in office.
Why is that,
Ron? Many
Ron?
Americans may still have the idea that USAID is a government agency delivering relief at disaster site overseas.
Nope.
They may still remember the bags of rice or grain with the USAID logo on them, but that is not USAID. USAID is a key component of the U.S. government's regime change operations worldwide. USAID spends billions of dollars every year propping up NGOs overseas that function as shadow governments, eating away at elected governments that the U.S. interventionists want to overthrow. Behind most U.S. foreign policy disasters overseas, you will see the fingerprints of USAID. From Ukraine to Georgia and far beyond, USAID is meddling in the internal affairs of foreign countries, something that would infuriate Americans if it was happening to us. When President Trump ordered a 90-day pause in USAID activities, we quickly learned just how pernicious the agency really is. The U.S. media reported...
And by the way, all these Democrat senators and Congress people who are gathering outside the USAID office that they wouldn't let them in are showing their cards. By the way, I should have that clip of Ilhan Omar talking about this too, because there's a lot of people just protesting this that have no idea what USAID really does. They actually believe that this is a relief agency, like, in famine relief and feeding the children and getting medicine to poor kids in starving countries. Nah, that's not what they do. That's not what they do. They focus on development deals with various countries and often just overthrow governments. It's fascinating.
That Ukrainian press outlets were scrambling to keep their doors open when the U.S. dollar stopped flowing. It is reported that 90% of the media outlets are funded by the U.S. government. This means that there is virtually no independent media in Ukraine. Only fake news outlets willing to toe the U.S. administration's propaganda line.
And that's usually something that leftists hate. But for some reason, because Donald Trump is doing it, and because they have the word aid in their name and people are stupid, they're completely against this. I'm going to cut this off because I want to keep going on other stuff. But you get the idea. I'll make a separate link if you want to watch the rest of that. There we go. There'll be a separate link for that particular clip. Moving on. By the way, also in USAID news, 97% of political contributions from the USAID employees went to Democrats. So there's another tie into the Democrats. Political contributions from employees at the U.S. Agency for International Development went almost entirely to Democrats, according to Daily Wire analysis. In the 2024 election cycle, USAID staff made a total of $406,790 in political contributions, according to data collected on Open Secrets. More than half of that, $241,079, went to former Vice President Kamala Harris. Only 999.25% went to President Donald Trump. Whoa, 241,079 versus 999. Wow. In all, just over 377,000. Well, look, hey, at least they knew where their investment would have made the most impact on them, and they failed. So there you go. So anyway, that's, you get the idea. And then also, let's see, what is this? Here, let's get into this Department of Education thing, because right now the White House is drafting an executive order to begin dismantling the education department. Now, I don't think it's a complete dismantling, but we'll read this here. Top Trump officials are reportedly circulating a draft executive order to launch the process of dismantling the Department of Education. The draft order would be a step towards fulfilling a key campaign promise President Donald Trump made to return education policy back to the states. The order would not direct the dismantling of the department, but request a plan to do so from the Education Secretary, according to ABC News. The order will also call on Congress to pass legislation striking the department from federal statute, which, by the way, the Department of Education, which came about in 1980 or 1979 under Jimmy Carter, started as an executive order. And also, so did USAID. USAID started as an executive order from John Kennedy. So anyway, just a little trivia there. The order, if signed, would likely be carried out by Trump's nominee to the head of the Department of Education, Linda McMahon. Some officials in the Trump administration are pushing for the president to hold off signing the order until after McMahon's confirmation, according to the Wall Street Journal, presumably to avoid hindering her nomination in the Senate. McMahon's nomination is currently paused in the Senate as lawmakers wait to receive ethics paperwork. Her nomination hearing has not been scheduled. Trump could order cuts to certain areas of the Department of Education and roll back or stop some controversial actions the department took under former President Joe Biden, such as mass forgiveness of student loans. That's something the Democrats were cheering. Deconstructing the department would take an act of Congress, however, which, but that's good. I hope that they do this properly. I'm not a fan of executive power, but the precedent had been set by the last two former Democrat presidents. Let's see. The Department of Government Efficiency, the government cost-cutting crusade led by Elon Musk, has begun to look at ways of trimming the Department of Education through executive action. According to the Washington Post, some employees at education have already been put on leave from the agency as a result of Trump's executive order cutting DEI initiatives out of the government. Dozens of employees by the department's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Accessibility Office were barred from the agency under the guidance from the White House Office of Personnel and Management. The guidance directs government agencies to notify all employees of DEIA offices that they are being placed on paid administrative leave, effective immediately as the agency takes steps to close and all DEIA initiatives, offices, and programs. So there you go. That's some significant news, and he made some announcements about that yesterday, so I probably need to find that. But the Randy Weingarten from the American Federation of Teachers has some thoughts about that. Here she is on This Is CNN.
with what you listed out, with these big functions being written into statute, meaning that it would take an act of Congress to change things about, do you think this is, are you saying you think this is more scare tactic and threat, or do you think that this effort that's being led by Elon Musk and Doge will actually impact the Department of Education?
It will totally impact the Department of Education.
Okay. What does the Department of Education do? How has it improved education since its inception in 1980, since its establishment? It was 1980, I believe. How has it improved education in the United States when we were first in education back then, and now we've dropped the ball, test scores suck, and basically kids are graduating without being able to read. How has it improved education in the United States of America other than unfunded mandates? I bet that's probably not, she's probably not going to answer that question because, you know.
But more than the Department of Education, it will impact individuals. Think about
individuals,
both in terms of Treasury
individuals,
and in terms of education. The amount of personal, private, financial information that that department has, just like Treasury has all the information of Social Security.
Okay. What? Oh, that's an unfortunate freeze frame. But anyway, what does the Department of Education do with that information now? Why do they have individual information like the Department of the Treasury does? Why? What? Why? I'm just curious.
All the information of taxes. In the Department of Education, it has so much personal information for people. So the question is...
What? I can understand why the Treasury would have that, the IRS, whatever, because you're filing taxes with them. Why does the Department of Education have a lot of personal information about people? Is it because of the loans they take out or things like that? What? Pell Grants, maybe? And that's really interesting.
Why is an unelected person who is taking this information, private information, from people who have trusted the Department of Education to give them their financial information? That, to me, is...
Well, that would be true of any audit of any department in the United States government. Yes, there's going to be private information people in the audits. What? This is not a good argument. Notice that she's not talking about anything. This is the president of the American Federation of Teachers. What does this have to do with the quality of education? Yeah, who elected them too? And that's another one. Who elected them? It's really weird.
Scariest thing. Nobody elected Donald Trump or Elon Musk.
Nobody elected you. Wait, wait. Did she just say nobody elected Donald Trump?
Financial information. That, to me, is the scariest thing. Nobody elected Donald Trump or Elon Musk to take their private information.
That has nothing to do with taking private information. Wow. One of the things that Donald Trump said in the campaign that he'd like to get rid of the Department of Education, though. So apparently some people knew that he was thinking about doing that. That's amazing. So yes, they did elect Donald Trump. And that was one of the things he said he wanted to do. Fascinating. I'm going to do just a quick drive-by of what's left because I don't have time to do that. Now, this is the question I was asked earlier in this article in The Federalist. If presidents can't control executive agencies, then elections are fake, right? Amid the hundreds of substantive executive actions President Donald Trump has taken in his first 2 weeks back in the White House, perhaps none matter more than his efforts at bureaucracy busting. That notably includes what Julie Kelly calls a Friday night massacre days ago of the Department of Justice January 6 prosecutorial staff, which erased 30 to 40 temporary positions Biden's DOJ had attempted to make permanent. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, arguably, he has done more in 2 weeks than Trump's entire Department of Justice did in his first term, Kelly said in a Saturday video. So is acting U.S. Attorney Ed Martin, both while the Senate confirmation of U.S. Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi remains pending. Together, they've sought the firing or retirements of numerous top FBI or DOJ personnel and an accounting of all FBI personnel involved in the January 6, 2021 prosecutions. Martins is also directing an internal probe into the DOJ's abuse of a post-Enron obstruction statute that the Supreme Court said the department used unlawfully to imprison right-leaning Capitol protesters with help from Constitution-hating federal judges. CIA mouthpiece Ken Dilanian complained on NBC, "This is probably the biggest purge in the modern history of the FBI, and we're talking about most of the senior leadership at the Bureau." Aww. So anyway, this whole article is basically about that turmoil. But the question remains, this is the question in the title is probably the most important part of this. If the president cannot control agencies within the executive branch, what's the point of those agencies, or what's the point of the executive branch? If these are executive branch agencies, then the president should be able to determine the direction that they go. And that seems to be what would make the most sense to me. I don't know. Does that make sense to you? Good question. In Front Page Magazine, never forget who Democrats are, hold them to their own standards. They created this medicine, give them massive doses of it. So, and again, like I said earlier, when Obama talked about having a phone and a pen, when the handlers that, carted Joe Biden around in a beach chair for 4 years and wrote all his memos and his executive orders, were they thinking that possibly the next president would also have that same power? Of course, they thought the next president would be the nice, lovely Indian black woman. And but that didn't turn out now, did it? So just to lead on this, you think the adults could conduct themselves like, well, adults. Yet when those adults are liberal Democrats, you're better off dealing with teenage girls. No offense to teenage girls. They have no ability to think rationally, believe incredibly stupid and obviously false things, engage in double standards, cry like they just got dumped for the first time, and pursue petty vengeance against anyone who disagrees with them like a jilted lover. Actually, teenage girls are more rational than Democrats, and Republicans need not only to remember that, what they do, but give them a giant dose of it right back. I'll add up their keister. Hold them to their own standards. Everything from the lying to the pettiness. These people are truly awful. Trump broke them, but they had to have had this in them in the first place. Never forget that. The point here, let's see. Oh, okay. My point I want to make with this, they set the standard on accepting questionable executive orders from the executive, which they did with Joe Biden. They let it go, and so on and so forth. And now they're very upset that the next president is doing similar things, although at a grander scale, because, it never gets... That's the one thing I hate about this whole thing. It never contracts. It only expands. And at some point, we need to have all government power contract. So in some ways, he is contracting it by getting rid of USAID, by paring down the Department of Education. He is contracting the power of the executive branch, but he's doing it in a very, I don't even have a word for this. In a very focused way, I'll just say that. So, moving on. El Salvador's in the news because apparently El Salvador has agreed to take criminals of any nationality, including U.S. convicts. And so, if you're not familiar with what's going on in El Salvador, they have basically jailed every single gang member in the country, and they're not treating them nice. They're basically they're being mean.
All
so
right. We're gonna go in here.
This is CNN.
Even as I'm stepping through these doors, I don't fully grasp what we're about to walk into. Suddenly, you're hit with the intense gaze of dozens locking onto you. These men described as the worst of the worst, tattooed with reminders of El Salvador's dark past. It's tense and uncomfortable. But here, officials say comfort isn't meant to exist. There's no mattress.
I'm surprised no one's made some big human rights things about this, but the gangs in El Salvador are basically in prison. They're going to be in there for life, and they get no creature comforts whatsoever. They don't get TV time like they do in the United States and yard time or whatever. And they basically walk around in their skivvies all day long and just have no rights, okay? And El Salvador has offered to take some of the prisoners that we maybe get rid of. So here it is, breaking. El Salvador and the United States have agreed. Oh, they've agreed on a plan to hold some of America's worst criminals in El Salvador. Considered the least fun prison in the world. Let's see how the thugs of Chicago, Atlanta, New York, and L.A. enjoy the vacation there. So they're, this is crazy. Someone else says the United States should start trading more with El Salvador and Argentina and less with Canada and Mexico. We should support our allies who actually care about border security. Yeah, I remember he made the El Salvadorian president made that speech at the World Economic Forum, kind of telling them to fuck off and we prefer freedom over your bullshit. And then Milei did the same thing. It was, it's pretty wild. New York Post again here. El Salvador offers to hold dangerous U.S. citizens and criminal migrants from any country in their hellhole mega prison. Well, I don't think they should put U.S. citizens in those prisons. That's a bad idea. The president of, it's a bad idea. It is a bad idea. The president of El Salvador money offered to house convicted U.S. citizens in his country's mega prison and to take in deported illegal migrants of any nationality after a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Rubio said the deal struck with Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele represents the most unprecedented, extraordinary migratory agreement anywhere in the world, in remarks in the capital from San Salvador. We can send them, and he will put them in his jails, the Secretary of State said, of migrants set to be deported from the U.S., and he's also offered to do the same for dangerous criminals currently in custody and serving their sentence in the United States, even though they're U.S. citizens or legal residents. I don't know if that'd be I don't think you can do that. They need to think twice about that one. That might be illegal. But yeah, otherwise, yeah. Oh, that pisses off Democrats. Oh boy. All right, there are a bunch of other articles, but I am done because I don't have time. A lot about the agreement, Canada and Mexico with agreements to put more deterrence at their borders via military and other agreements. It's interesting because everyone on the left on X is saying that Donald Trump's tariff threats got them to do what they were already going to do. And in fact, a lot of them pointed to an article from 2001 where Mexico was supposedly putting 10,000 troops at the border, when Biden was president. The only thing I am curious about people making that argument that, they already did this. They did this in 2001. Well, if they did this in 2001, why did the border become like a sieve during the Biden administration? Why did illegal immigration just explode during that time if Mexico was already doing that? Now, yeah, there are the reports they were putting people on the border, which makes me think some of those border troops that Mexico was probably putting them at their southern border. But again, if they were there in 2001 and during the Biden administration, this is something they already agreed to with the Biden administration. Why did immigration, and I don't mean legal immigration, why did illegal border crossings just surge like massively? Were they there to facilitate the border crossings, or were they there to deter the border crossings? And will this new pledge by Claudia Sheinbaum and Justin Trudeau, will those be used to deter illegal border crossings, deter drugs going across, deter terrorists coming across the border, et cetera, et cetera? That's my question. So we'll see what happens. So there you go. Trudeau caves that. So some of this, if you listen to right-wing media, Trudeau and Schiffbaum caved to Trump. If you look at left-wing pundits in media, they say Trump caved to them. So anyway, also in Texas, the Texas National Guard's granted authority to arrest illegal aliens. They're going to be cooperating with Immigration Border Patrol and ICE. Also, there's a leaked memo that exposes cartel plans for drone strikes and attacks on U.S. agents. I pity the fool who starts doing that shit. Because I got a feeling there's a security agreement between Sheinbaum and President Trump that if that starts happening, there may be some military action against cartels in northern Mexico. We'll see what happens, though. If they plan to attack U.S. agents, we'll see what happens. Also, the governor of New Jersey has dared the feds to arrest an illegal immigrant he claims is living on his property. This is New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy. Dared them over the weekend to arrest this person. The problem is he may be prosecuted. I don't know. I didn't have that on the screen. So here it is. He dares feds to arrest illegal immigrant he claims living on his property. And they just might take him up on it. Tom Homan says, I'll prosecute the New Jersey governor if he's concealing an illegal alien. So that's going to be an interesting little thing going on there. By the way, CNN primetime ratings plummet in January, seeing a 14% decline. Well, that's why they're laying people off. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Legal insurrection. Jake Tapper asked Senator Tim Kaine, why is your party so staggeringly unpopular? Yeah, they're the poll numbers on the Democrats are not good right now. We'll see what happens when it comes here. But he was cited a Quinnipiac poll. Found that 57% of Americans have an unfavorable view of the Democratic Party, and just 31 had a favorable view. So Tim Kaine danced around that one, saying, well, we're popular in Virginia. And yeah, the Virginia governor is a Republican and whatnot. Daily Wire, we already have this one. White House drafting executive order on education. I think I already have that. I can close that one. And let's see. Oh, by the way, Vivek Ramaswamy is has a very commanding lead in the Republican nomination for governor's race in Ohio. That's interesting. You can read about that. Daily Wire, and then there's a DNC meeting. There's some. Oh, this is that's one you can't do. I'm gonna get rid of that one. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much. Let me drop these links in the chat, and we'll get the hell out of Dodge. Thanks for joining me today, and I will be back here tomorrow again. I will not be broadcasting Friday, but that's okay. I'll be back on Monday. All right, come on, computer. There we go. All right, here come the links. Maybe, Jesus. There we go. And sorry, I should have done this earlier. There we go. All right, here's today's links in the chat, and I'll put them in the description too. Weird capitalization and all, and that's it. I gotta go. Oh, hi, Willie. I see you just showed up. Were you here earlier? Did I sing? Oh, no, you were here a long time ago. Anyway, I gotta go. Have a great day. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.